Hello, it's Nikki. How you doing? Welcome back to this series all about 11 lessons that I have learned in 11 years of being a qualified coach. And as I said yesterday in part one, this is not necessarily about you being a beginner. This is a really great reminder to have that almost like you're in an ITV quiz show where the lights go down and you get that thinking time, you get that reconnection with your business. So I'm really pleased to be here with you and sharing these things. If you've got questions, if you want to find out more, if you want one-to-one support, go over to the navigation of my website. You will always find the offers that are currently applicable and ways that we can work together there. So today's topic, today's question, today's scenario is about polishing the shelves. Now, let me give you this context of this. When you are trying to grow something, and maybe you are in those early stages where cash flow is, I don't want to say tight because it feels restrictive, but cash flow is considered. You're not just chucking money here, there and everywhere and going, great, I've got to spare 20 grand. I'll just throw 20 grand at that and see what happens. Very few people are in that moment. They're really thinking about, and maybe they're transitioning from a job or some other situation, and they're really working it out as they go. And therefore what happens is, you assume many of the roles that if you were in a corporate setting, so many different people would do that. So as the freelancer, as the business owner, you're the accountant, you're the web designer, you're the copywriter, you're the social media manager, you're the CEO, you're head of customer services, like you're doing all of the things. And at first that can feel really overwhelming because you just thought that you wanted to launch this thing or take this thing to the next level. And suddenly it feels like you've given yourself another to-do list with 29 things on there. And so I really want to support you through this process. And maybe you're at a point where you know you want massive growth and it's going to take a different version of you. Bearing this in mind is going to be so key. Now, the way that my brain works and the way that I like to do things is that when I get into something, when I'm focusing on one particular thing, I absolutely love to do that thing. So that's why lots of the work that I do in terms of content, I batch it. Because if I'm on a roll, if I'm in that place and I'm speaking, I like that flow and I like to be able to do that. And yet, if I apply that to putting things on my website, for example, I have to be really careful with this to make sure I'm not polishing the shelves and only polishing the shelves. Here's what I mean. You are your most important asset in your business, especially if you are the person who is delivering the services, the packages, you are the point of contact, you are the personal brand, you are the face of the business. You don't want to be out there in the back the whole time. So imagine that you were the shop owner there. I want you to think about if you have a stream of customers coming into your shop and they've come to see you because they've seen you online and they want to get to know you, and maybe they want to share a stories, maybe they saw a video of yours that they really liked. If they make the effort to come to your shop, i.e. your website, they want to have some kind of touch point for you in there. And if they come there and there's no hint of you, there's nobody there to support them and guide them because you are so busy in the back polishing the shelves, they're going to leave quite quickly. And I think for many of us, when we get into that deep work of like, right, I've got to sort my website out, or I'm just going to really work on writing my ebook or creating something behind the scenes, we have to be really careful that we are still opening up the sign every day for our business of saying, hi, I'm here. You can come in, you can buy things, you can inquire, we can have a chat. And that is so important because The selling and the sales coming into your business is literally the life force. It doesn't matter if you're planning stuff or doing things behind the scenes. If you haven't got that income coming in, it's going to be really difficult to sustain things. Also, based on the way that people like to browse, they might take a bit of time. Some people might buy straight away, but some people want to get to know you a little bit beforehand. So if you go AWOL for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks in your business, you may feel that lag in there. And again, I want you to think about how you can get things ready so you can welcome people in. Once again, so much focus is on getting everything right and perfect behind the scenes. And if you've been watching the Interior Design Masters, is that what it's called? The Interiors program on BBC. So often there is such a emphasis on the aesthetic and the beauty and making sure everything is perfect that they haven't considered the person, the human coming in. They haven't been in the dialogue with that. So I saw something the other day where they'd made these tables and they'd really thought about it and where they were going to put the positioning, but nobody had actually sat in the chair, and if they had, they would have noticed that the tables were way too high, so they weren't necessarily workable. And I see this so often in people's personal brands and the way that they come to me. It's like there's so much faffing behind the scenes, and how you're going to learn, how you're going to get out there, how you're going to bring money into your business is by you being out front, you popping on. And so I really encourage you to prioritize your visibility. That is so key. And if you want help with that, I can help you. I can help you come up with a plan. This doesn't have to be anything scary, anything overwhelming, anything that feels really out of your comfort zone, because if it does, you're probably not going to do it anyway. This is about working on your terms in a way that feels really good. So come and have a chat with me. As I mentioned, I've got some offers on my website in the navigation bar. Let me know what lands for you, what help you need, and we can go from there. Lots of love. Bye.